Hi guys, welcome back to Introduction to Maps in Folium and Python. In this video, we will be plotting markers and styling them on our map. But before we do that, we are going to add a second base map, which we are going to call map doc. So the name of this base map is called cartodb doc matter. So let's add it. It's map doc equals folium dot map, specify location, our latitude and longitude values, okay, and then we are going to add an additional argument which is called tiles, and then we are going to specify a specific tile that we want to use as our base map. So the name of this tile is called cartodb doc matter, and then we are going to specify a zoom start, and we are going to say zoom in 10 times and then load the map. Okay, so there is a difference in our arguments for loading this map versus this one. So the only difference being the tiles option. So by default, when you don't specify a tile, you will get the OpenStreetMap as a base map. But if you want to change that, you can specify a specific tile that you want to load. In this case, cartodb doc matter. Okay, and you can also specify a custom web map tile service, and it will pull that from whichever website the map tile service is hosted on, and then it will load it as your base map. So now let's print this map, or let's display it. As you can see, we have now loaded the cartodb doc matter tile as a base map. Okay, so now the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to prepare the data so that we can plot our markers in their respective GPS coordinates or location on the map. Okay, the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to create a separate data frame which will contain our latitude and longitude values. So it's df suburbs, and then we are going to call it locations equals df suburbs, and then we are going to take the latitude and longitude field, and that will be our new data frame that will derive from df suburbs. So it's latitude and longitude. Okay, so once we have that, let's print it and see how it looks. So as you can see, our df suburbs location data frame has only the GPS coordinates of each suburb. Okay, let's comment that out, leave some space. Okay, the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to convert that data frame into a list. The reason why we are going to do that is because we want to be able to iterate through each record of the data frame. So it's easier to have a list, and we can use the iterating functions of a list, right? So that when we plot the markers on our map, we will plot each and every one per iteration of that list. Okay, so let us call it suburbs location list equals df suburbs locations dot values dot to list. Okay, and now we want the size of that list so that we know how many times are we going to iterate through it. Okay, so we are going to get the size of the list, and then we are going to store it in a variable called suburbs location list size equals len suburbs location list. Okay, so this is going to give us the size of that list, meaning it's going to count each element inside that list. So if there's 20 elements in the list, the size of the list will be 20, for instance. In this case, the size of the list will be the row count of our data frame. So now let us print the size and see how many records we are working with here. Which shouldn't be a lot because each record is a unique suburb. Okay, it appears I have a syntax error. Okay, there it is. Okay, so now we can see that we have 121 records that we are working with. So that's 121 unique suburbs. So there will be 121 markers plotted on our map. Okay. So our data is ready, and now we can plot each marker on our map. So we are going to iterate through the list 121 times, and then we are going to plot each suburb on the map. Okay, so it's 4 point in range. So each marker is a point basically on the map. Suburbs, let me see. I don't want to make any more syntax errors. Autocomplete. Okay, so 4 point in range 0 to suburb location. Again, I made that mistake. Location list size. Folium dot marker suburbs location list point dot add to map OSM. Okay, so for each iteration we are going to take the GPS coordinates which are stored in point, right, of the suburbs location list, and then we are going to add that point to our OpenStreetMap map or base map. Okay, so let us add a marker on our dark matter base map as well, so we can see how it looks on there. So add each point in each iteration to the base map, which we call map dark. Okay, so it's as easy as that. And now we are going to first print or display our OpenStreetMap, and it should have each and every one of our suburbs plotted as markers on the map. Okay, so as you can see, we have each suburb plotted on our map. in the meanwhile, it's only the marker, it doesn't really tell us much. It's only the GPS coordinates of each suburb as we have specified, and it's 121 of them. Okay, and now let us see if we can plot it, if it was plotted on our dark matter map. Okay, as you can see, here it is. We have successfully plotted our markers on the map. Okay, so now the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to add a pop-up message or a pop-up box with the name of the suburb, so that when you click on each marker, you'll be able to see the name of that suburb popping up. Okay, so in order to do that, the code is kind of still the same, but we are only going to add another field for suburbs, which is the name of the suburb. So let's do that over again for educational purposes, but otherwise I would just be copying it and pasting. So it's point again in range 0 to the length of our suburbs location list, or the size. Okay, and then folium dot marker dot suburbs location list, and then we are going to take each point in each iteration. So each point is a unique combination of a latitude and longitude value for each suburb. Okay, and then now we are going to specify a second argument called popup, and we are going to say popup equals df suburbs. So now we are using our data frame, and then we are going to specify the key, which we are going to call suburbs. So this is going to use the suburbs field in our df suburbs data frame, which will contain the name of the suburb. So it's suburb, and then the value will be the point, right, which is the GPS coordinates for that suburb name. So it's point, and now we are going to add to map OSM OpenStreetMap, and then we can repeat that and then add it to our dark matter map. Okay, and then next thing that we are going to do is just print it again. So let's start with OpenStreetMap. So now if we click on each marker, we should be able to see the name of that suburb. So as you can see, there it is, right? So our code works, and it was that easy to do. So now let us also display our dark matter map and see that we can get a pop-up box displayed when we click on a marker. Okay, and there we are, right? So the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to change the icon of the marker, right? So now we are going to introduce some styling. Okay, so again, it's 4 point in range 0 to 121, suburbs, location, list size, and then we say Folium dot marker suburbs location list. Take each point in that list and plot it, and then popup is the suburb name, which we get from the suburbs data frame. And we specify a value of point, which is the GPS coordinates for that suburb name, so that the pop-up gets displayed at the same location as the marker. Okay, that's why the point is there on both properties or arguments. Okay, and then we are going to then introduce another argument, which is called icon, right? So this will allow us to specify a custom icon besides this dot that you see here. So we say Folium dot icon, and then we specify the color so this will be the color of the entire icon. Right now it's like a light blue, so we're going to change it to like a dark blue color. So you say color equals dark blue, and then we are going to change the color of the icon. Actually, we are just going to specify it. That's the right color at the moment. So we say icon color equals white. Okay, and then we are going to specify the icon type, and we are going to use tint. So tint, if you are familiar with web development and HTML, Bootstrap, and Font Awesome icons, so the icons that we'll be using are called FA icons, which I think are maintained somewhere. I don't know if they're maintained by Google or whoever, but it's a very well-known icon library. So what's happening is that Folium handles the HTML code in the background. So all we need to do is just specify the name of that icon, and it will create the equivalent HTML code in the background. So we say icon equals tint. So tint is a like a droplet. It's a picture of a droplet. So that will specify water in our case. Right, okay, and then the angle where we want the icon to be displayed, and we say at its default location, which is at 0, 0, x equals 0, y equals 0. And then the prefix. So remember, this is an HTML tool. So FA icons is an HTML tool. So we need to specify FA for Font Awesome. If you have done some web development, then you will understand why. Okay, and now we can add all of that to the map. OpenStreetMap. We are going to copy this entire line here. And we are going to call this map doc. Reposition that. And then let's display our OpenStreetMap first. Map OSM. And now what you should see is that our icons are now styled. So you can see we changed their color to a more dark blue type of color, right? And we also changed the FA icon, which is called Font Awesome Icons, right, to tint, which is a image of a water drop, right? So you can change that as well. Like I said, if you're familiar with HTML development, then you might have come across FA icons for sure. Let's see if I can still remember some of them. Let's use a plus. There was one called plus. Let's see if that works. It should give us a plus sign. As you can see, there it is. So what you can use this for is to classify different icons as different features on the map, right? So maybe you can have, let's say you're plotting different animals in a certain cluster or location, then you can specify different icons for representing each animal, for instance. Okay, and yeah, that's about it for now. Let us see if we can display this in our doc matter as well. So it's map doc. As you can see, here it is. Right, so we have added our icons and we have styled them. So I will end the video here, and thanks a lot for tuning in. I'll see you guys in the next video.